Hello, hello. Welcome to the Swagger
Hello to
for
you.
Jeff Antonio show. And today I have a very, very special guest. And in fact, she's a musical legend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Dawn Penn. How you doing, Dawn?
I'm great.
Oh, it's so great to talk to you, and it's such an honor and a privilege to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure.
I am a big fan, and I've got to say, your music has inspired me for some years, being a music artist myself. Your classic hit, You Don't Love Me, is just, I think it's timeless and it stood the test of
Mhm.
time. And that voice is like none other.
I'm thrilled. It's great to know. Well, I know anyway. I've been doing it for a long time, to be honest. Well, singing for a long time.
Yes. Well, I tell you, it's just so tell me, Don, how did your musical journey begin? What moment in your life did you have it where it just clicked and you just said, you know what? I'm going to do this music thing.
If I tell you, you'll laugh. Actually, I I was when I was going to school, I used to take music lessons like Chopin, Tchaikovsky, Mozart, Mendelssohn, and all these different people. I was doing classical music. I ended up doing the piano and the violin and so forth, singing for church and um, getting to your answer anyway. And what it is now, I used to work in different places and um, it clicked around. I was in America. Actually, I was at the Virgin Megastore working still but I had done music before and I still was doing secretarial work. So the music thing was like, call it a hobby kind of thing.
Hmm.
So while working at the Virgin Megastore in Manhattan, in the, New York, I discovered that I could make more money in music than working in an office because I used to be a secretary. I used to work in the bank. I used to work at the airlines, do
Hmm.
accounts, and I wanted to do medicine, but that's when I decided to take it a bit further and concentrate on dealing with music. I did music from in 1960 whatever, but that wasn't. I always had a side job.
Yeah, so it looked like you were working at the Virgin Megastore and you had done some of these other jobs, and I think
Jobs,
you
yes,
realized you're going to take it to the next level.
right,
And so,
yes,
what was
that's
what was that
exactly
first
it.
initial step? What did you do?
First of all, I was in charge of reggae music in on the first floor, but I was like as a cashier,
Hmm.
and I used to take money from people when they buy the record. And I used to even sell a rubber box set. It was funny because I didn't even have a copy, and on page 22, I was in the book as well. But yes, it was an eye opener for me around that time because the music. I just did that, and then I left, and I went to the Virgin Islands, and then I went back to Jamaica, and I meet dance hall, and then I went to the States, and that's where we are now. That part of my life.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, what was your initial recording that you did, and who did you work with?
The first recording that I did is I don't even know how to explain that recording. I was in the studio playing the piano, and I was singing a song called "When I'm Gonna Be Free,"
Hmm.
and I was recorded. I didn't even know. I found out that that was a rare track of mine on Amazon, wherever them selling these things, whatever you call that name there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Amazon on Amazon
Hmm.
as a rare track. It was like people were bidding on kind of things like that.
So, how did that come to
Um,
be? I mean, who was the producer and the studio? How did you make that connection?
I couldn't even believe that. I went in the studio. I had a piano at home, but anyway, I see a piano, I used to want to fast with it. So I went in the studio and started to like play on the piano and sang and played the song when I'm gonna be free.
Hmm.
It was Duke Reed studio, and you had Lindsay. It was the band there,
Hmm.
and I don't know how Derek Morgan get that track. I really don't know, but it ended up with Island Records, to be honest.
Hmm.
That's where it went. And it was as a rare groove selling on the net on Amazon. That's when I found out it was a record. But after that, I went to Studio One Sunday afternoon and did a recording, did a audition, and I sang this song, You Don't Love Me. And Mr. Dodd said to me, you see, you have a jazzy voice. Come back the next day to record it.
Hmm.
So I went the following day, but Mr. Dodd wasn't there. It was Jackie Mitu and Tommy McCook and Lloyd Nibbs and my next man that played bass. I can't remember his name right this minute. But I recorded the song. They made an error in the recording as well. I played the music too on the piano because I
Hmm.
never had no prior rehearsal with the band. I played the music on the piano, and Jackie Mitu said to me, "You need to put another note on that chord, like I said, first, third, and fifth. You played
Hmm.
music, so it's like C, E, G, and then you put in two more notes to make the chord fat." So that's what happened. Lloyd Brevet is the man I was trying to remember. He's on string bass. Tommy Cook was on saxophone, and Johnny Moore was on his trumpet. And they said they made an error, and they didn't start it all over again because they didn't have the thing to like fly in, stop and start again, or not anything like that that they went through.
Right.
So that's where that started.
That's great. So were you the one to come up with that line? You don't love me?
Yeah, it was lost love. I don't really like to talk about my personal life like that, but yeah, it was some kind of heartbroken scenario
Wow.
where I wrote that song. That's what it is. As a young teenager,
Hmm.
yeah, jibbed, jibbed or whatever you call it, your heart broken.
Yeah, that
So that's
teenage love heartbreak, yeah.
indeed.
But you can hear it in the track. I mean, it definitely stands out. And so, I guess was that song kind of like the beginnings of your career? That's when things started kind of happening, and you became more
No,
successful.
nothing didn't happen until around. Let me see. Since I did that track, I went to even Portugal and I went back to Jamaica. And then I met dance hall in the place, and I decided to. I went and I entered some competitions like um, there is there's a party place in Jamaica. There's a party place in Jamaica. They have a competition. So I entered the competition. I even went to the skating ring in Portmore, and Mr. Paul Campbell saw me and said to me, "How? What are you doing this kind of thing?" So I said, "Well, nobody not rate me and do not pay me no money in this dance hall in the place." So I entered the competition, Tasty Patty competition. It used to happen like every month.
Hmm.
So that's what happened. I entered the competition and started all over again. Did dance hall, did some dub plate for some songs, and um, started to get myself remembered, for
That's
want of a
great.
better word. So,
Were you nervous at all for the competition, or you went in saying, I got this?
I just did it. It's a everyday thing. I sing every day and all is well.
Okay, okay. So you have a lot of confidence. That's great. And so after that, that's probably when you started making the connections and you became known for your voice and for your artistry.
Yeah, but no, as I said, nobody didn't at that time believe you could make money from music, like singing, operas and or what do you call them, operettas and
Hmm.
arias and these type of stuff. I wanted to do medicine, but I just didn't like to see blood. So, and my mom was a nurse, so that's what that was.
That's
I
great.
had 10 minutes.
That's great.
I'm in the library.
Oh, oh, I see. So Don, so that voice of yours, It's beautiful, strong, and it's so original. Was that something that was it? Did it come natural, or you kind of developed your voice over time? It took a while to get that Dawn Penn
Well,
sound.
really and truly, I never even used to sing in the beginning. It was my sisters who used to sing at the church, and I used to back them up on the piano. Whatever song we were singing,
Hmm.
and as I said, I used to be in a group called the White Choral Group as well. We sing out in Easter time. We sing at churches for Christmas,
Hmm.
hospitals, and these type of stuff. So
Hmm.
I was always kind of trying to sing but stay in the background kind of thing. Because my other sisters could have sung as well.
Hmm.
So that's what it is.
So you think over time it just kind of developed and developed after singing with the group?
With the White Choral Group, yes. We used to rehearse every week. I didn't rehearse like that. If I was sure, I go to rehearsal, but normally I don't really sing. But somebody was telling me I was trying to sing every day.
Hmm.
But I sometimes have to anyway, so.
That's great. That's great. So Don, tell me about recording at the legendary Studio One. What was that like at the time? Any good stories?
Well, everybody who liked music, it would appear, would be there. And Mr. Dodd used to have audition every Sunday afternoon.
Hmm.
And I used to follow my friends, the Paragon. My friend Cherry Carol, her name is Cherry, but she's Carol Evans, which is one of the Paragon's wife,
Hmm.
Mr. Mr. Evans. He wrote a song said, "There's a man that lives next door in my neighborhood, in my Tyrone Evans was her husband. So she was my best friend because we used to go to school at one point.
Hmm.
So follow them go up there one afternoon and um ended up doing this big audition and so that's I come back the following day and do it. I did.
So Don, tell me, when you're in the studio and you were doing those amazing recordings, and I'm talking about like "You Don't Love Me," "Night and Day." How do you get into your creative zone and block out the outside world? How did
It,
you do that?
the thing, as I said, it happened in studio and just like an impromptu thing, as an impromptu stuff. But for Night and Day, when I went to record that for the album, it didn't have the verse. The song wasn't long for singing, so I created a verse. But honestly, I dropped asleep in that session. And when I woke up, the music was completed. It's crazy, but it's true.
Wow, wow. Was that something typical that sometimes you maybe sing it so many times you kind of fall asleep and knock out?
No, the band was creating the music behind it because it's Augustus Pablo track. But when I went to do it, to record it for the album, because the manager Basil Marshall told me that I should do that song, and I just gravitated to it. But it was a bit short, so I had to write a second verse to make it long.
Hmm.
But in that process of being in the studio, I dropped asleep. To be honest, I woke up back around when they got it started.
That's great. So when you're in the studio and they say that you need to write a second verse, I mean, how do you tap into that zone where you're able to do it? Was it hard, or just the words just come out of you?
No, it's yeah, the words come out. Sometimes the words come out very flowing.
Hmm.
So I always make sure I have a pen and paper beside me sometimes because by the time that energy comes, if I don't write it down, I might just remember the first two lines and
Hmm.
have to hurry up. Well, as I said, I did secretarial work, so I do shorthand and longhand and Greg and all these pitmans and things, so I can do do it quicker now than before, if you know what I mean.
Right, right. I guess it's something that it's a skill that builds up over time.
Yeah.
So Don, because I know that I read that you kind of left the industry in 1970, and it looks like you had a comeback in 1992 when you redid "You Don't Love Me."
Nine,
So was that
1990,
1990?
actually. Studio One had a reunion, and Heartbeat, Steel and Cleaver an album,
Mm-hmm.
to do an album in commemoration of Studio One's 35th anniversary in the music business in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked me to do this track, and eventually it was running the album when they put it out. So they had to make it a single, and that was it. I got a deal with Atlantic, and that's where it started.
That's
Really
gr-
started.
that's where it really started. So you kind of had your career kind of had a second wind at that point. It was like you had already had that previous history, but in 1993, 1992, it's like it kind of happened all over again, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In a different format with um, Bounty Killer on one side, and then putting Q-Roy sampling his voice.
What did it feel like to have that second success and kind of a new audience? Was it a good feeling?
Yeah, I think my time had come, but it's like I was in a dream world kind of thing. It's true. I was just going with the flow and not asking no questions,
Hmm.
and it was a very good opportunity too.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I mean it's always good to kind of leave and then come back, and so that must have been a really good feeling. And so since
Yeah,
that
my time had come.
new time had come, so
Yeah.
so would you say? I mean, how has it been since the that '90s? You know, when you had the second breakthrough, how's your career been since then?
Well, I do about 25 to 30 gigs a year,
Hmm.
and quite a few festivals across what they call the Brexit area, which is Holland, Spain, France, Italy, Russia, Germany. Maybe go to Australia or go to Hawaii and all these places from here
Hmm.
on tour and things like that.
That's great.
So,
That's great.
yeah.
And I really like, even your recent recordings. Like, I like what you did with the song, "The First Cut Is the Deepest." I thought that's a really good version.
Oh, well, I know that man their song. I know what you're talking. The first cut is the deepest. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I have a lot of new versions of my music coming out though, like the house and deep house and dance music. Um, You Don't Love Me No 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 has a dance beat
Hmm.
now. And I have one called Time.
Hmm.
I have one called Growing Up. There's one also called Sunshine.
Okay.
Somebody just threw that song at me, but I get to like it. You know the song, Everybody Loves the Sunshine. You know that song?
I do.
Folks get around in the sunshine. I didn't like it at first, and I didn't really want to sing anybody's song. I think I should try and promote my music because I have 7 albums.
Hmm.
However, they threw that one on me, and I get to like it still. So it's on. I did it on Rebel Salute that I just did in Jamaica in January as well.
That's great. So, I mean, so what's your decision making process? So sometimes you record your originals and sometimes a cover song. Is it just kind of how what zone you're in, or you try to just mix it
I
up?
would have um I'm a musician, right? So I gravitate to lyrics and also music. If I have a lot of I'm always writing songs, I'm always writing prose or verses. So actually if I hear a good rhythm, I might just sing a song on it. But I have to do the paperwork because I'm scared of people and how they behave,
Hmm.
you know, with the splits and all these different things and things like that. I'm
Right.
trying to find somewhere quiet.
Oh, you sound good.
Yeah. No?
Yeah, you sound good. I hear you really good.
You can what? Say that again.
I hear you really good.
No.
Yeah, the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, I try. I am trying harder because you have younger people in the thing. I don't know how somebody going to have X amount of money and they just start to sing some there go, and they're not signed to anywhere. I've seen um some person. You can't even see the person's face. I have to laugh. But everybody have their own style and sequence of how they want to project themselves and how they want to present themselves, and there's always another way. So that's
Absolutely.
what's up.
How do you feel about how your music has been sampled so much by other artists? Does it do you like it,
Samples.
or what's your take on that?
Well, music is for the world, and it's just that sometimes you don't almost get the credit that you deserve. But I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
fine. Once I always say once I'm not out in the cold or you know have nothing to eat or anything like that. I'm okay. I don't know what you call it, if you want to call it humble or whatever, but I'm not in excitement like that. I grew up in a very privileged lifestyle, so
hmm
I
Is it
I know what type of opportunities I feel.
is it ever a surprise, Don? Like, have you ever been kind of surprised, like all of a sudden you hear your voice on the radio and it's been sampled and you didn't know? It's like, wow, someone else sampled my music.
As we talk about that, I know it's copyright infringement and all this thing. I know the whole story, but you know what? I just pray for them because them do what them doing. If that make any sense. I am on an ad. I have to laugh. This this person, this man, because I watch it myself. This man, like he's up in the mountain somewhere, and he just like wait to press the button, and he press the button, and then he hear no, no, no. It's good. At least I am in the frame.
hmm
It's not a good thing though, really. Some people would do all kind of madness, but you know, I think you have to give back something of what you have to really stay successful actually. So
That's true. That's true.
that's
It is.
what's up.
It
Ten
is.
percent of whatever you get. I go straight to the book and I follow the rules.
Absolutely. So, Dawn, how does your day begin and how does your typical day end?
Hmm. My day right now in this time. What it is really and truly, I don't even wear a watch like that. I don't have an alarm clock in my house, but I can safely tell you the Holy Spirit wakes me up in the morning, and when I wake up, I know it's time to pray. So whether it's 2 hours, 3 hours, or hours it takes
hmm
to do what I'm supposed to do, I just do that. When I come out, if I have something to do, it's gonna happen smoothly. I mean, you still have to hang ups and things and hiccups and stumbling blocks, but we just pray them out the way. That's where I am in this time.
That's great. That's great. And what advice would you give to other artists out there that want to be the next success like Dawn Penn? What would you say to those artists?
It's a hard road to travel. It's a hard road to travel. It's a hard. I don't know if you're going to be somebody next like me because everybody, we're different colors and different races and different everything. Everybody have their own gifts,
hmm
but I think we came on this planet or in this dispensation to praise God and thank Him. He likes. I find he likes music. He loves music, so you can get by even playing a lot of music to Him other than even praying,
hmm
although praying is a part of it as well. So I would say if you're going to go in the music business, make sure you have everything locked. Like you register your song, you learn some to play some kind of instrument. I think is worthwhile.
hmm
And you have some people they wouldn't be singers; they would be writers of lyrics. And you have others to find their niche and then work on it.
Mm, I like that. So find
No,
your
it's the truth though.
niche and find what makes you different and go into that, right?
Yes.
That makes sense. Because, I mean, there's so many artists out there and it really makes no point to kind of sound like everybody else.
Huh? Say that again?
There's so many artists out there. It's best to kind of like leave your mark being doing your sound, being your individual artist. I think it would help, right?
Yes, it would immensely.
Yeah. Well, like you, I mean, your voice is so unique. You know, it's unmistakable
But
that
I
it's
just give
you.
God thanks. I didn't know what it is. I say, what these people see in you don't love me. It's just two verses, and furthermore, it's just a little bridge that Johnny Moore keeps saying to me. You don't even know if me and my woman have problem last night and me play my trumpet like that, and start give me some next story about film problem. But really and truly, music is you're supposed to be happy. Really,
Hmm.
it's something to be joyful about, but it's not a business, so you have to take on the cap and make it happen.
Absolutely. What is it about the music of Jamaica, Don, that is just so appealing to the world? What is it?
Well, okay, they wanted to say that great crossing festivals is big because he eats some kind of food from Jamaica or whatever. We have a certain vibe. I have to rate the people, and I'm glad I was born in Jamaica. So I could have been born somewhere else, or you know. But really and truly, the there is something about that place. I don't know if it's the soil, it's the atmosphere, it's the sea, but there's a vibration that emits from that place that you can create anything. And people go to school to study to be an actor, an actress, or you go to school, that's a necessity, but some people don't train to do nothing. They just get up and act, or they get up and be a comedian, or they just get up and start singing about the problems they're going through. And it's a hit. And then some of them never even really graduate from school and all this type of stuff.
Hmm.
So we put our heart into what we do. And you have a lot of other places like that. But I think if it's a modeling, Naomi Campbell is like number one of the number ones that they have out there. And well, we know Mr. Bolt already, and they will be talking about Bob Marley. A lot of people was behind Bob as well, but he had his own thing too.
Hmm.
And you have most of the artists really and truly used to write lyrics according to what they were going through, their experience. So, and then they put it in song. I used to just go on the piano and start play all kind of thing, create music and thing. And my dad said, I don't want to quell be on my piano. So I couldn't even listen to the radio though. It was just church, guys, and school. And you had to be back. You can't make night catch you out on the road, please. And if you go anywhere, he's at the bus stop waiting on you anyway. So that's how I came to do this song, When I'm Gonna Be Free. But When I'm Gonna Be Free, my first track, it's so ambiguous and across the board. It could be when will I be free from, it could even be when will I be free from sin, when will I be free from slavery, when will I be free from, um, whatever hang up I am on. People drink, people smoke, people do all kind of craziness.
Hmm.
When will I be free? But my when I be free is when will I be free to go? And don't have no problem with nobody to ask no question to me or whatever. That's what my when I going to be free was meaning to me at the time.
Hmm.
Because we couldn't go anywhere, and our friends couldn't come to the house. And about two people, I think, ever graced our house when we were
Hmm.
growing up. Apart from the helper, we I had a friend, Anita Leach. She was from Panama, and she worked at the Ministry of Education in Jamaica. And she used to actually come check me sometimes when she had break, lunchtime, and so. And my dad and she was very good friends. They used to be talking Spanish around the clock when she come there. But um, you know, we just had a privileged life. I have to give thanks. to be honest.
That's great. That's great.
Yes.
So, Don, tell me about the first time, like your first major tour back in the day. What was that like, and who was around? And
I never had my first tour back in the day. My tour didn't start after 1994.
1994?
Yes, yes. That tour, a man from England, he's Jamaican as well, called for me to work with Desmond Decker. His name is Deroy Williams. In fact, I co-produced an album with him for Trojan. Although
Hmm.
they are kind of like funny people, but um, it was 30 shows in 30 shows in a month. Every night we're on stage with Desmond Decker. So
What was
that's
that like?
before he passed anyway. Desmond Decker. We used to be on tour 30 days in a month. Every night you're on stage.
Um,
So, one night, this Desmond Decker, him now drink a whole for rum as usual. And I don't know, after he sang and I sang and sing, and the band played their thing, somebody must be called back for me to sing because I came late.
Mm-hmm.
And he just get mad and just throw up all the drinks them off the table and all this type of stuff. But tonight would be my night, tomorrow would be his night kind of thing. We used to every single night we were on stage doing a show between Holland, Spain, France, Italy, Germany. We come out like 3 cities in France, Luxembourg, Denmark, everywhere in that area.
Mm-hmm.
We start like in England and go right round and make a circle and come back round to France to leave out. That was always well organized and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Me living in Jamaica, well, getting pounds at the time was, I guess, good and things like that. That was the first tour I really ever had still. I
Mm-hmm.
never did any tours in Jamaica, just outside of Jamaica. Coming to England, rehearsing with the band tonight or tomorrow night, fly out the next day to go to these places, France and Spain and all these different places.
Oh yeah. But
Holland.
but I'm sure you have a big base in England. I'm sure they love your music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They actually do.
Mm-hmm.
And England is not too bad. I mean, the only thing is the cold go to your bones, but in England, in America, you have the cold going to the snow. So that's how people get sick.
The cold goes to your bones.
But is it true though?
It's pretty cold. Yeah, it's
It's
really
true.
cold. That's something.
As I said, it's in America, you have the snow, although it might be almost inches up on the street. When you see it in the summer, you say, "Oh, that was the place, it's snow." And then, if you have on you need to really have on your proper clothes anyway. But when it's cold, it's really cold. I can deal with it anyway. I just wear the proper clothes. It's not the Caribbean and it's not summer, so
That's true.
I'm good to go.
But which do you prefer? Do you prefer recording in the studio or do you
Yeah,
prefer
no.
touring?
Recording in the studio and make you get a tour, innit?
Mm-hmm.
If you record in the studio all the time, you have music to put out. I have two unreleased albums as well, a secular one and a gospel one. I'm about to release one called Grace.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a gospel song, but it's on a kind of house beat. I just went in the studio, heard that rhythm, and started singing the song on it, and I said, "What?" And I just recorded like that.
That's in Jamaica
Truly,
or in England?
in here, over here.
Oh, nice.
I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out on some people. I don't like them, because them disturb me, really and truly. I don't even know I'm working with them because they're very out of order and rude.
Mm.
To be honest,
I
they're
hear
actually rude. I can't tell you. One person said to me today, "Oh, we 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 don't know that you did any releases with us." And but she's what? Something another specialist. I said, excuse you, I don't believe that you could be any specialist. Do you not know what happens in your place? And you're supposed to be a supervisor of some kind in the business over
Right.
there.
Right. And she doesn't
She
even know
telling
the
me,
two
I'm
go
from
together.
two. She don't even know what's going on around, going in, as I was saying, Jamaica around her. Because I don't know what kind of specialist, I nearly asked her what kind of specialist she is, but she's some kind of labor specialist. And from 2011, I dealing with these people, you know. And she is telling me, oh, she don't know that I have a release to them. Oh, no, she come off of the moon or somewhere if she not in the planet or something.
Mm.
Anyway, you meet those from time to time across the board. You have to just laugh it off and turn it in a joke. Because if you really ponder on all the stupidness you hear, you know what I mean? You get unwell. And I don't plan to get unwell anytime soon, so
Oh no. No,
that's what time it is.
no, you will not be unwell anytime soon. So Don, tell me what's next
Yeah.
for you? What's next on the horizon for you this year?
As I said, I have 2 albums to release, but really and truly, I have about 5 singles. One named Time, one named Growing Up, one named You and Me, some versions of You Don't Love Me, No, 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 and The Tide is High in dance, deep house music kind of thing
Nice.
to release. Yeah,
When
I think that's the real show still.
when are those coming out? Those recordings?
They are looking after them right now. And of course, I have Sunshine, which I just came from Jamaica, and the video is already done. They are just syncing it with the track. But they must go get permission from the people them anyway. And
Hmm.
I just sing it my style, really and true. That's what I did. After I find out that I had to do it still.
Okay. And any dates? Are you doing any live dates this year?
Yeah, I have about 15 already.
Mm-hmm. What
And
what's coming up?
I have, for this month of March, I have a boot camp that I'm going to anyway. And also I have, after that boot camp, which is for 3 days, the following day I have a gig, and I think the next day I have another gig.
That's cool. What's in the boot
Yeah.
camp? What happens for that?
The boot camp teaches you how to speak, public speaking.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Although
very
I'm not into public speaking. I'm just going there to chill out anyway because they invited me to come, and I go with them. This passion to profit is something that the person that instigate these things, Andy Harrington, does. They have invited me to a lot of the boot camp, not boot camp, but a lot of their workshops for free when people have to pay some money for money. But this time I said, well, from last year I decided that I'm going to go to the boot camp to check out their public speaking thing
that
course.
sounds, that sounds great. Is that with
It's
Brian
going to
Rose?
be for 2 days.
Is that with Brian Rose?
Huh? No, it's with Andy Harrington.
Okay.
A
Oh,
man named Andy Harrington. He does it every week. It look like he have some kind of course going on. He invite me to a web webinar. Must be yesterday, but I didn't really engage.
but that's great, Don. So tell us where everybody can find you online.
Online, it's actually dawnpenn.com. I don't really go there quite often, but it's been hosted by Shore Productions, and whatever goes to the website about like getting jobs and so, or doing a gig or whatever, it comes to my Gmail. So it ricochets on my Gmail account to see if I didn't go to the website. And I'm still on LinkedIn and those people there, the books,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and I'm not on Instagram though, and I'm not, and I am on Twitter. I am on one called Empower.
Empower.
But empower is another kind of thing. You're supposed to empower people not to spend money. I used to do a workshop that helps people earn or save £10 to get back to work. But I know that the people don't really want to go back to work. So what I do holistic things,
Hmm.
how to cope with high blood pressure, how to cope with diabetes, crystal healing, color therapy, reflexology, heads and shoulders, knees and toes, tai chi, yoga, and all these things
That's great.
to enable them to not spend money to pay for these services.
It's better to be natural than all the medicine, right?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And my mom is a maroon, so we deal in the bush. We don't deal in the pill. If that makes any sense.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I like it too. I like the natural stuff, to be honest. I know it needs, and they say, what are you doing? What's your secret? Yeah, man, I'm blessed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Don, it's been an honor and a privilege having you on the show. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me too.
You're welcome. Once again, this is the legendary Dawn Penn. And I really love her songs. You Don't Love Me, Night and Day, and First Cut is the Deepest. I highly recommend you check her out and buy an album and go to a live show because she is a legend. And to everybody listening, keep up your swagger, keep up your swerve. Until next time, keep up the hustle.